Coast to Coast Pick 5. $1 minimum. Player-friendly 15% takeout. Coast to Coast Pick 5. Weekends beginning January 7th.
Hey fans, let's handicap the Coast to Coast Pick 5 for Saturday. Jeremy Plunk from First Bet, joined by Santa Anita's Jeff Siegel. We'll have Brian Nadeau along from Gulfstream Park in just a moment. Let's take a look at the lineup of races we have for you on Saturday for the Coast to Coast Pick 5. It begins at 4:29 Eastern with a Calbred maiden special weight turf sprint, Santa Anita race 3. We go to Gulfstream Park for race number 10, turf sprint allowance there. Santa Anita race number 4 next up on the dirt, allowance company. Gulfstream Race 11 is the Grade 3 Royal Delta Stakes and the return to Kathleen O. And then we'll wrap it up in race number 5 with a starter allowance, 9 furlongs on the turf at Santa Anita in race number 5. Jeff Siegel, you've got 3 races to handicap, so let's get right to it. Brass tacks time. Santa Anita, race number 3. Who do we like?
I'm going to use 2 horses here, both by Square Eddie, number 2, Finally an Eddie, and number 1, Catalina Eddie. I think those are the 2 that we can try to get buying if you're playing a smaller ticket. Finally an Eddie is a first-timer with a buyback at the Ocala sale last March for $385,000. Breezed in 10 flat, looked good. Bought back by his breeder, and Finally an Eddie has trained much better, I think, than the final times would indicate, according to the clockings he's earned, and you can see his gate work on XBTV, and he looked good. I think he's quick, and I think he's going to be very live. He's 4-1. Catalina Eddie had a run here on dirt a couple of weeks ago, kind of wheeled back quickly, but being by Square Eddie out of him by Johar, he really should move up on the grass. Numbers-wise, he's fast. If the quick turnaround, the short rest doesn't do him in, he'll be right there as well. So I'm going to try to get by using number 2, Finally an Eddie, and number 1, Catalina Eddie.
These picks endorsed by Eddie Olczyk, I'm sure, as well. Let's go to Santa Anita race number 4, allowance runners on the dirt.
Well, I think Big Switches probably deserves another chance. She was beaten at 3-5 last time out, although she actually ran well. She was more than 3 clear of everybody else. That was her first start since winning the Mel Air. I didn't think she could lose, but she managed to find a way. But with that race behind her now, I think she'll step forward for John Sadler. Juan Hernandez rides her back. Good tactical speed. Prior win over the track. I think Big Switch will be tough. She's 8-5, no big bargain there. If you want to throw in another one, maybe as a backup, number 3, Rose Maddox, coming off a stakes win up north. She's a really versatile and genuine race mare. She can run on turf, dirt, all weather. It doesn't matter. She has run against Big Switch in the past, and her lack of tactical speed puts her at a disadvantage. But if for some reason Big Switch doesn't fire her best shot, Rose Maddox is the logical second one. So you can use them both in some order if you'd like. Number 6 over number 3, Big Switch and Rose Maddox.
And let's go long on the turf in race number 5 at Santa Anita, mile and an eighth here. Your selections?
Well, here's a race I do like. Number 4, Harper's Gallop. She's 2-1, switching to Frankie Dettori. She was beating the neck last time out in a mile. This race is a mile and an eighth, and if you look at her form, you figure, can she go a mile and an eighth? I actually think she's going to like it. Really ran well last time out over this course, finished well, ran out of room, galloped out far in front. I actually think she's going to like a mile and an eighth, even though she doesn't really have any proven form at that distance. So I like her pretty strongly here, in good form. Protected by Leonard Powell coming out of a claiming race. I like that as well. The other one, Aloha Kitten, number 2, not as good as Harper's Gallop. You can just maybe protect her there on a backup if you'd like. I think she'll run well. But Harper's Gallop, to me, is the one. I would take a strong stand for her.
Good luck to you on your picks, Jeff. We're going to have Brian up from Gulfstream in just a moment. Be sure to bet the Coast to Coast Pick 5 with Express Bet and First Bet. Join now from the Silks Room at Gulfstream Park by Brian Nadeau to look at races 10 and 11 at Gulfstream Park, including the featured Royal Delta. Brian, you've got a best bet for us in race 10, I hear.
Yeah, it's a weird race too, JP. It's a turf sprint, and they're basically all Tapeta horses, except Exchange Day has got 2 local turf wins. The rest of the field combined 4 complete turf wins from everywhere. So, you know, his form on the Tapeta or the turf is really good. He had a trip last time in it against much better. And I just think now back with state breds on the turf over a turf course we know he likes. I think he's in a really good spot in here.
All right, let's put a ring around that one and move next to the featured race on Saturday at Gulfstream Park. It's the Royal Delta. Kathleen O on the comeback. Is it her or somebody else?
I think it's somebody else, and I really like Classy Edition. I liked their comeback race last time. Now, admittedly, nobody else really did any running in that race. I've got to be upfront about that. It was awesome, though, and I don't want to knock Kathleen O. She's 3 for 3 here. She was so good winning the Gulfstream Park Oaks last year. I'm not convinced she's a true 2-turn horse either. And this is a short finish line. And I know she won it last year at this trip. This is a tougher field today. Going to be spotting a lot of distance, open lengths to Classy Edition entering the far turn. And I think that's the key in here. You know, Kathleen O is going to be a short price. I have a lot of respect for her. I'm willing to try to beat her today. And Classy Edition is certainly the now horse, too. I'm going to put her on top. To me, she's a single. If you want a Dutch to race, obviously Kathleen O. I don't see anybody else threatening those two if you want to just leave it at those two and be done with it.
Well, let's take a look at the picks from Brian and Jeff for Saturday's Coast to Coast Pick 5, and you'll see that Brian's got things narrowed down for us. So good luck to those of you playing the ticket this weekend. Be sure to check out the official track websites at Gulfstream Park and at santaanita.com for all the updated scratches and changes. Good luck in the Coast